Hey, it's Terri, your cheerleader of dreams. I want to talk to you today about something a little more serious. I had to learn this for myself, and I'll be honest, it's not easy, but it's so worth it. In fact, God will not tell you his next steps for your life until you do this. That's pretty serious. But before I tell you, ladies, I want to take a quick second to invite you to my annual Icing Women's event here in Dallas, Texas. It's coming up, and I have to tell you, it's not just a typical women's conference. Yeah, there's tons of cake, but more than anything, you are going to get your dreams back. Maybe you haven't dreamed in so long you don't even know what your dreams are anymore. Maybe you feel stuck and you don't know how to get unstuck. I only know how to speak from experience, and I'm going to share with you what God has taught me that changed everything in my life. Plus, I finally get to see you in person, and I love getting to hug the ladies. And let me tell you, my guest this year is Christy Wright. I've asked her specifically to teach you how to build your confidence. So hurry and register to come to Dallas September 2nd and 3rd, or you can watch a live stream for only $30. So get your ticket at terri.com/icing. Okay, let's get back to our topic. I heard a story about a soldier in World War II. He was a young guy in Florida in a library one day. Now, this is during the war. And he said he just picked up a book and noticed these little notes in the margin. Handwritten, very heartfelt. He looked in the front of the book and he noticed the name of the previous owner and her address. And it was a lady named Holly who lived in New York City. So he wrote her a letter introducing himself and how he was about to, be shipped off overseas to Europe the next day. And then he invited her to respond so they could just talk about the book. Well, he was so surprised when he got a letter from her. Well, for the next 13 months, they wrote each other back and forth and got closer and closer, falling in love with each other across the miles. But they'd never seen each other. So he asked her for a photo, but she wouldn't send one. You thinking what I'm thinking? Is the first catfish took place. Okay, 18 months later, after corresponding all this time, he's coming back home through New York City. This was their big opportunity to meet for the first time and go to dinner. So she wrote him and she said, "I'll be waiting for you when you get off the ship." She said, "You'll know it's me by the pink flower in my hair." Well, he was so excited and nervous. The moment arrived, he stepped off the ship and this beautiful woman came walking towards him. She took his breath away. Stunning, tall, gorgeous features, in shape, looked like a movie star. Well, he was so captivated by her beauty, he didn't even realize she was not wearing the pink flower, and she passed him by. He finally came back down to earth, and a lady in her 40s approached him, which I think is pretty young, but not very attractive, graying hair. Just so happened she was wearing the pink rose. Disappointed but not showing it, he walked right up to her with a smile. He saluted her and he said, "Hello, ma'am, you must be Holly." He said, "I'm so glad to meet you. Can I take you to dinner?" The lady said, "Son, I am not sure what's going on here, but the young lady that just passed you asked me to wear this pink flower. And she said if you invited me to dinner, then to tell you she'll be waiting for you in the restaurant across the street." It was a test. Will you do the right thing when it's hard, when you don't understand it or you don't even like it? God will not only give you the desires of your heart, but even more when you obey. See, I want you to know today that God is more interested in your heart. And when he sees you do the right thing, especially when it's hard, get ready. God is about to impact your destiny. I remember hearing a minister say, this is pretty serious. He said, God will never advance his instructions for your life beyond your last act of disobedience. I'm going to repeat that. God will never advance his instructions for your life beyond your last act of disobedience. I memorized that because it struck me so hard years ago. See, God could be saying, or you could be saying to God, "Lord, what do you want me to do? Please tell me." And he's saying, "Go back to the last thing I told you to do and check to see if you did it." And if you didn't, God's going to bring you back to it and bring you back to it until what? You obey. And it could be something like get out of a relationship that you know God does not want you in, but now you've got strong soul ties with this person and it hurts too bad. You know what? you're going to stay stuck. It could be that God told you to get your finances in order. Stop spending so much money, but you keep getting drawn into the temptation to spend. You're going to stay stuck financially. It could be God told you to start an entirely new career, leave your job, but you're allowing fear to stop you from stepping out. I remember reading the 5 love languages when Roddy and I were going through a tough time. We went and saw a counselor. He told us both to read that book. And the 5 love languages are physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, and quality time. Rodney said his love languages aren't just quality time and physical touch. He prefers quality touch. I was like, whatever. But anyway, do you know what God's love language is? It's obedience. Listen to the scripture in John 14:15. It says, if you really love me, you will obey. Think about that. God interprets love by how well you obey what he tells you to do. I recently read where Yonggi Cho, he was the pastor of the world's largest church. He was asked what his secret to success was. And you know what he said? I pray and I obey. I pray and I obey. You should probably put that in the comments. That's a great thing to remember. But here's the thing. It's truly a heart issue. When God tells you to give something or to do something, that's between you and God. This is not a Facebook moment. This is not posted on Instagram. He's just watching to see, are you going to do the right thing? And he's not trying to make things hard on you. He's trying to make things hard on the devil because he sees down the road. See, obedience opens a door for God to bless you extravagantly. But if you don't fully obey what God's telling you to do, you're never going to move beyond your current circumstances. Did you hear me? You will never move beyond your current circumstances until you obey. I told you, today was a little more serious. I remember hearing Joyce Meyer say, there are 2 messages in the Bible, only 2, and they're told thousands of different ways. And this is what it is. Do what I tell you to do, you'll be blessed. Don't do what I tell you to do, you're going to live under a curse. That clear, right? Think about Jonah in the Bible. God told him to go to Nineveh. And Jonah went the complete opposite direction to the city of Tarshish. That's hard for me to say. But he ended up getting swallowed by a whole mess of problems. He almost died, and then the whale spit him out. And what did God tell Jonah to do? Jonah, go to Nineveh. Think about it. His instructions never changed. All Jonah did was waste a lot of time. So see, God's instructions for your life will never change until you do the last thing he told you to do. And it might be as simple as clean your house. That was my first instruction. My dad always said when I was little, obey quickly and quietly. When I was a little girl, he'd always say that, obey quickly and quietly. Why? Because delayed obedience is still disobedience. So what is it that God may have told you to do and you didn't do it because it was too hard? And here it is a year later and you're still struggling. I want to encourage you today, take bold steps of obedience. Don't talk yourself out of God's will because it doesn't make sense to your mind. See, anybody can obey when it doesn't take much faith, when it's easy and it's logical. But doors of opportunity, doors of favor and blessings are going to open up for you because you simply obey. So let me tell you how I got the courage, the faith, the resolve in my head to just obey even when it was not what my flesh wanted to do. I made myself listen to faith-building messages every single day. Every single day. See, faith comes by hearing. And the more I heard God's word, the more I desired to obey because I knew it was leading me to doors of opportunity and success. So this week, I put together a free download for you of my personal favorite podcast and YouTube channels to listen to help you do what you know God's telling you to do. And they are specifically going to help you build faith to obey when it's hard. So just click the link in the description, get that free list today, and I know it's going to help you. And I want to ask you to do a favor for me real quick. It's only going to take 1 second. Would you help me out and subscribe to this channel? If you would take the time to just push the play button and be one of my subscribers, that means so much to my team and I as we work so hard putting these faith-building podcasts together to bring you some encouragement. So let me wrap it up with this familiar phrase. Somebody in need is waiting on the other side of your obedience. Who could be waiting on you to simply obey? Don't forget, I'm cheering you on to live your dreams.
Something amazing happens when women from all backgrounds and ages come together at Icing. This is your time to grow in your relationship with God, get free from limitations, discover your dreams, and get the biblical tools you need to walk out God's plan for your life. Join Terri Savelle Foy
To start thinking bigger, to stretch myself out of my comfort zone, to start asking God for bigger things.
and Christy Wright
You can begin to see the path from where you are today to where you want to be, and then, oh my gosh, that dream's not so crazy.
September 2nd and 3rd in Dallas, Texas, for an unforgettable weekend that will inspire and motivate you to live out your God-given purpose. We can't wait to see you at Icing 2022, the premier women's conference for faith-filled dream achievers.
Hey YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and to get more inspirational content, click one of these videos right here. And remember, I'm cheering you on to live your dreams.